don't know if there's a time that it has come to your realization whereby some things happen and you need to take a time and think about it, for deep thoughts about it. And with the recent happenings in the world, it started with the COVID-19. That was a game changer. The experiences, the apartheid in us, the racism that was there, and just the mere factor that there are people who will go to a greater length to submerge the health of others. And then it came to open a lot of, there's a lot of things that open up, a lot that was like not there in the public. People came to understand how government works, how the international community works, and people have been questioning. So I do not understand where all this started, but I may say it may not have even started with COVID-19. COVID-19 was the level bottom of point of realization on what has been going on. I remember back in school, and shout out to my friends, my schoolmates. I wouldn't say that I was woke, but I had a feeling, a sense of feeling that something wasn't right. I didn't know what it was, but something wasn't right. So it's already evening. It's like 5 hours later from the last distraction you saw. It was too windy and my brake was out. I was just discussing about the feeling that I was feeling way back in school. Like there was something not right. There was something happening within our community, within our social fabric, within our leadership fabric, leadership roles, and everything. At that time, I realized I could make a change by becoming a leader. Let's keep that part of becoming a leader, because that will come to happen in 2017. I'll come and discuss about it. So I realized there was something wrong, and I even remember we were in school, in high school. At Form 2 already. I was already woke, very much woke. I knew what was happening. I understood the system, and I was telling people something is wrong. Can you imagine? People thought I was running crazy in school. And because I came to a point, I just told the teacher, you teaching us, things that are not going to be part and parcel of our lives later. We are going to do it today, and it ends today. So what is the purpose of this knowledge? Oh man, everyone laughed at me. Everyone laughed. I remember it was a math class. What was it we were discussing about? Was it the logarithm table? Yeah, it was the logarithm table. I was really pissed off. I was like, what is this? What is this? I couldn't understand why I need to learn about the logarithm table. And I asked the teacher, frankly, like, since that we are learning this, are we gonna be getting associated with this, or it's gonna be absorbed? I don't know if I thought that the technology that will come later will absorb most of these things that we have been taught. But I just asked the teacher, will we need to have some of the things that we have been taught today being absorbed by other mechanisms that will come, practically like technology? And the teacher just paused for a minute, and I think for the teacher was a teaching practice. So for them, maybe they'll be like, okay, maybe it is something similar he has heard somebody saying, and it's not something new, and it's French from college, and also he's asking himself many questions like, okay, this gentleman has a point to it. And I remember him just brushing the word like, you just need to learn to pass the exam. And I was like, that is where the problem is. Why do I have to learn to pass exam? I was like, there's something wrong. Somebody's not telling us the reality. And as years pass, for the last 2 months, what has been happening in Africa with my own country, Kenya. Now it's it started in Uganda. The Ghanaians are pledging to go to the streets. The Nigerians have gone to the streets, and then I'm just now. I actually wanted to speak about it, but I've been looking at it and I'm like, wait a minute. I think I was in the right channel. There was something that I was heading to. My conviction, my ability to see what was wrong is actually coming face to face to myself. And I was like, this time when Kenya went to the streets to protest for the finance bill, and now they want the president out because of his incompetencies in terms of ruling, in terms of how he manages politics, and his absolute blatant understanding of what the people need. Because I think what is happening in Kenya, there's a generational change, and apart from generational change, there are also political changes that are happening between the generation. Now, the youths are claiming not to be, they're claiming they do not want to be aligned tribalically, yes, but they want to be aligned economically. And that's one of the things that the government has refused to understand, or is just actually putting a close eye into it. So I was just looking into it, and when this protest started back in Kenya, I was like, wait. Is this making sense, what I've been trying to think? And then I remembered, there was a time I said, we have a problem with the leadership. The whole world economic leadership is in a problem, and it's we're in a bubble. The word is right. We are in a bubble. And I was like, this bubble is about to blow out, and the proportions of blowing out, people will be put in a position whereby they couldn't get out in this position. And I saw it with the Arab world, and then the COVID, and how they handle the COVID. It seems to be something maliciously put into the people, and how we tried to get out. And then it was a hoax. Actually, that was a big hoax. Like, you couldn't do anything because the world HWO decided to put some measures towards it. And now that it put African people to start questioning, we have not been questioning. Now the questions became more. And I've been looking into it, and I'm like, wait, I think there's a problem with the governance. I said, no, maybe it's not. And then some time later, we have Russia invading Ukraine. And I'm like, in 21st century, another country goes to another country to invade, violate the UN Charter. And I'm like, there is something wrong. And I was like, is it the type of leadership that we have that is wrong? Or is it the type of leadership we have ruling us, the ruling elite? And I'm like, no, it might be the concept. The concept has come to time. The concept has become redundant. The concept is no longer working. The economical platform that has been there is no longer working. It's making people poorer. It's making people slaves. It's making people dependent. Can you imagine? There's some countries, even back in Africa, at the age of 35, my age, this person has never worked in their life. They are depending and still living in their parents' home. And it's not even Africa alone. I had hear stories of the sort in South America. Yeah. I hear the stories in some parts of Asia. And it's really sad to hear or even to understand what could be happening. And when we were in school, we knew that Africa was one of the richest continents in the world. But why the richest is the poor? Then I realized there was something wrong. And coming to understand all this made me to do a lot of extensive research, understand, and I get to know a lot of things that I have been planning to actually talk about, try to do. I even tried to become, join the politics. And that's a whole different situation. The politics in Kenya is quite different from what we think the politics are. The politics is full of deceit. The politics is full of corrupt people. The politics, the politicians there, or the politics in Kenya, are actually mad with. Can you imagine? For you to become a leader, you must have a gun. A gun. You have to run. If you are actually elected to the parliament without getting there with a gun, I don't know. It's now near impossible, and it's not even getting worse. If you do not have money, you will not be elected. Can you imagine people asking for money for you to elect you? And then why am I going to spend my years, work so hard to create money so that I will use that same money to actually go and bribe people for me to be elected as a leader? And then how will I refund my money? So I will not be even surprised the politicians decide to steal. The worst corruption cases in Africa are from the politicians themselves. And have they been arrested? No, because they're the ones who control the legislation, and they're giving kickbacks, and they warm the worst part of this. It has eaten up all the good things that we ought to know. Yeah. So I realized there was something wrong, and even now it has gone wrong to places whereby you will not believe. Can you imagine right now, even families among us, a unit family, we're not talking about the extended family, the unit family cannot relate or cannot have a discussion on anything because of what the nitty-gritty of the society has been. The society has been eroded to a point whereby it has even gone to the modest part of the fabric of a family. It has distorted. It has put the family in a position whereby they are hopeless. They are, it's a terrible situation all throughout. That's what I want to say. It's a very, very terrible situation. So I believe we have a problem, and it has to do with how we run our business. Our morality is actually in question at the moment. There's a lot of things that need to be changed, and is the journey going to be easy? I don't think it's going to be easy. Lives have already been lost. People have gone to the streets to fight for this, and lives have been lost, and it's not going to be easy. For sure, I know that it's not going to be easy. So for me, I will tell you, you need to stay woke, you need to stay alert, you need to get yourself educated. And when I say educated, just getting yourself informed, that's what I mean. You get yourself informed, because there are a lot of things that are not visible to the physical eye. There are things that are like practically very hard to see, very hard to understand. And when I see how economies are falling down, falling up, and sometimes it doesn't make the sense. Such countries like Africa, there are countries that have minerals down beneath their land, but they're still poor. Up, they're poor. They're poor on top of the level, but down they're rich. They're one of the richest countries in the world. And that will just be one thing that I've come to discover. Just the nitty-gritties, like the small things matters, and can really put a country into a position whereby it can be very quite unfortunate. It can be very quite a position whereby it's quite hard to get out. And we have been in this for too long, more than 100 years, in terms of being ruled, but I think it will be more than 400 years, because since when we interacted with the world, and there's a lot that needs to be done. We need to stop pretending, and there is also a place where I said even to the fabric of our education is actually frauded. Literally, you are going to school to get educated to become an employee, but you have your own staff that could actually make you a better living and live comfortably life. But we have decided to actually rely on religion, supremacy of education, and we see those who are not educated to be of a lesser God or to be of a lesser us. And it's quite unfortunate, because you are talking of people who are even in the same family. They are despising one another because of that. And I think it's time to change. It is time to change. When you sit down, ask yourself this question: for who you work for benefits. If it doesn't benefit you, then you are in the wrong place. You are in the wrong place. If you are working or you are living to an extent that your way of living has to affect others, then you are actually a disgrace of yourself, and you are the people who are actually contributing to the subjugation of the people who are poor, and making others poor and making others less important to the community. Can you imagine? We have the opportunity to live a better life, but because of greed, because of slander, I don't know, because of wanting to look superior, because that's the problem, trying to be superior. Between the golden African ages, the ages of the Africans living amongst themselves, there was nothing like superiority. If it was a superiority, it was not a superiority whereby it will put the whole country down, or put an entire population in a position whereby, basically non-functionable. Yes, when I say Africans dreaded one another, they did dread one another. But what did happen? If a community was defeated, they were actually subdued, and they joined the people who invaded them, and they become part of that family. In most communities, you will hear stories that we are basically from certain tribe. We are not from here. So our ways of life have come to a point whereby, I don't know, there are people who say we are in, there are those who believe in horoscopes. They say we're in the times of Aquarium or Aquarius. And this has actually, it's a time where people get knowledge. Yes, I understand people could be in this particular time. But also, I'm believing that the pain that we have for the things that we are going through right now is what is making us getting slowly awake. And that is for sure. I'm believing also that's why people are going to the streets, because they are feeling the pain, and they know where the pain came from now, because they have understood what is actually the problem. So there is a lot of things that we will be discussing more about in due time, and we will go to a very extensive way to explain everything, how it happens and how it develops. I will touch on various parts of this conversation, because I think it's time we need to talk about it. Can you imagine Africa, when they need to move around the world, they need to pass through a heavy visa process. But others who are coming into Africa, they actually did not even require any obligation. You just get the visa on arrival. Is it a sad opportunity? Yes, it is a sad opportunity, because there are some people who are being denied the opportunity to see the world in their lifetime. Can you imagine the impact of people who have actually seen the world, have seen how things are done, and they could actually change? Because I believe, I'm a social believer in allowing people to do what they want, because when we allow people to do what they want, we get a new discovery, a new way of doing things, a new way of working out issues, how we solve issues. We have known that Africa are better solvers in issues of relationship, of matters of territorial imbalances. You know, like we are not a country, we are not a continent whereby we will fight ourselves to death. We sometimes sit down and say, no, enough is enough. We need to sit down and discuss. If we have a problem, we need to discuss and end the squabbles that we have. But the other parts of the world, it's a do-die affair. So, with the advent of Africans moving around, this fighting that we are seeing in other countries could actually be literally stopped. Look at what is happening in Palestine. As long as people want to say Palestine was wrong, I also think Israel is also wrong to continue with the war. And it's a very sad situation. The balance there is, it's quite between the veil. The balance is quite between the veil. And when you want to support one side, it doesn't seem right, supporting one side and taking the other side. But for us, in the continent of Africa, we believe that it will rather be of greater value if all these infights are stopped and people can discuss the way forward on how they live together in future and prosper, than rather fighting. And the course of rebuilding is not quite easy, and we will be rebuilding with broken families who have missing parental guidance, people who are aggravated with hate, people who are aggravated with revenge. So there's a lot really to discuss. But for today, I just want to encourage you where you are. Think about the things you do. Think about the morality. You know, stay woke in whatever you do. Get yourself informed, because there are a lot of things that are happening that they seem to be right, but they are not right. For today, I will just end it there. We will talk another time about another discussion. And if you have any opinion, or if you have anything to add on top of this material that we've issued today, you can write on the comment section and let me know what you feel about this video, and also what you think maybe we should discuss more about in lengthwise, and we will try and bring it more in the near future. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in another one. Thank you.